In the previous video, we talked about the action potential in the neurons. So now we should understand, after the action potential has taken place, all the three steps has been done. Now what happens to the sodium and potassium? Because sodium was inside, was coming inside, and the potassium was going outside. Now they have to come back to their normal position, that is the normal state. That is, potassium should uh, come from outside to the inside, and the sodium should go from inside to the outside. To re-establish, we will have the sodium potassium pump, and this is to maintain the energy metabolism. Sodium and potassium pump is activated when there is a lot of sodium inside, that is, after the repolarization state, we understand that sodium is more inside the cell membrane. So that is why the sodium potassium will be activated, and then these pump will require energy, they require energy, correct? So that is the ATP. So ATP will be required. Now, since there is ATP is required, that is, there is production of heat also, and the ATP has come, and now sodium can go out and potassium can come in. So this is the way how the re-establishment of sodium and potassium takes place after the action potential. In some cases, there is plateau also present. That is, for example, over here we have one action potential, that is the resting membrane state, the first stage. Then the action potential should go like this. But instead of this, there will be a slight plateau. That means a pause. And then it will go like this. So this plateau is caused in heart muscle. That is, there is a gap between the depolarization and the repolarization. So in heart muscles, it is about 0.2 to 0.3 seconds. So there is plateau, and which leads to the contraction of the heart. And how it happens? There are two channels present, that is the fast channels in the sodium, that is the sodium, which causes the first spike. And there is L type calcium channels, that is sodium and calcium pump is present, which leads to, that is slow in that is slower than the sodium channels. So now there will be a delay, that is the calcium is also coming in, hence there is a delay from depolarization to the repolarization. And after this, for the repolarization, we have the potassium channels, that is much more slower than these. So it is the slowest. Hence, there is one millisecond delay from depolarization to the repolarization. The next is the rhythmicity or the repetitive discharge. That is, they have to be repetitively activated. So, for example, in heart muscles or smooth muscles, it is required for rhythmicity of heart contraction, for rhythmicity in nerve cells, and for peristalsis in intestine, and for breathing processes, the breathing rhythmicity. So after this, we have the spontaneous rhythmicity. In spontaneous rhythmicity, first we will, in the natural state itself, first we need to understand that in the natural state itself, it, it should take sodium inside, so that when the sodium is coming in, it can allow more and more. So first there is, in the normal state, there is increase of sodium and calcium as well, and this leads to the increase in the activity of the membrane voltage. Now when there is increase in voltage, that is to the positive side, there will be increase in permeability, the membrane permeability. Then more ion will be influxed, and again there will be increase in permeability, more and more increase. Now this is done until there is depolarization and the repolarization happens, and the cycle will repeat again, because in the normal state itself, the sodium and calcium were coming in. Now there are two types of nerve fibers. That is, over here we can see these dark ones are the myelinated, and over here in the small areas, These will be the unmyelinated. So let me mark it. Over here we have myelinated, and over here we will have the unmyelinated. So we need to understand the structure of these, because over here in the myelinated form, that is in myelinated, that is which is called the myelin sheath. This is the myelin sheath, and over here there will be a space present, that is the nodes of Ranvier. Now let's make a new diagram. That is, here is the axon and here is the cell body. Now over here will be, these are the myelin sheath, and inside will be the presence of Schwann cells, and again inside these are the presence of sphingomyelin. These are the good electrical insulators. And over here there is a space. This space is called the nodes of Ranvier. Now when there is action potential going on, it is better for them when they are jumping in between the spaces. Why? Because they will save the energy. As in myelin sheath, and here was the axon. This is the axon. So myelin sheath is more thicker layer than the axon itself, and inside the axon we have the axoplasm also. So for a action potential to go from this thickness, it would be very energy consuming process. Hence it's better for them when they jump from here to here to here to along the nodes of Ranvier. So the travel impulses travel much faster in the myelinated sheath. So over here, this is the saltatory condition when they are jumping from nodes of Ranvier. So this is the condition is called the saltatory condition. Over here, we can see the action potential has started in the nodes of Ranvier, and again they have been jumped to the other side. And next, in the last, we will have the excitation. What if we will give small electrical impulse? Will they be excited? No. When these are not excited, at the time it was given these potential, it will be called as the local potential, that is the acute local potential. And since they have not been to up to the mark of to cause an action potential, it is called the acute subthreshold potential, and here the threshold is above minus 40, and here they cannot they were not able to reach above minus 40. Hence these are called the acute subthreshold potential. Now since after that there is an acute potential, over here there cannot be a second action potential, so that is the absolute refractory period. Over here you can see the absolute refractory period, because once an action potential has been generated, another action potential at the same time cannot be generated. Hence it is called as the absolute refractory period. And over here we had the acute subthreshold potential. So in conclusion, we have the two types of nerves, the myelinated and unmyelinated nerves. Here is the diagram for the nerves. That is, over here we have the myelinated sheath, the nodes of Ranvier in present. There is presence of sphingomyelin in the Schwann cells, that is the electrical insulators, and these are present over the axons, and electrical impulse much runs more faster in the myelinated ones. In the next chapter, we will be learning about the contraction of skeletal muscles.